All right, hello and welcome to your lesson for today. What we are going to do today is we are going to practice using equations to find coordinate pairs that we could graph. Now this is lesson 9-2 in your book, so we are on chapter 9, lesson 2. We have come a long way. So let's jump right in. It says find 4 solutions of y equals 7 times x. Write those solutions as ordered pairs. So first things first, y equals 7x is a function, meaning that when we plug a number in for x, we get something out for y. And remember, a function is when you plug something in, you get something else out. So that's first. Second, when we use this function, we are going to write ordered pairs, and ordered pairs are basically just an x and a y value that make up a coordinate that you could graph. So we're going to use what's called a function table. And we're going to have to draw these out since I couldn't give you actual function tables in class. Now on a function table, x is always on the left and y is on the right. And the reason for this is because we put an x into the problem and we get something else out for y. So our function is that y equals 7 times x. And we were given that in the original problem, y equals 7 times x. So I'm going to choose 4 values for x. Now to keep it consistent, we're going to choose the same 4 values every time, but you could pick other numbers just as easily to use. So I'm going to always choose -1, 0, 1, and 2. And those are my sample values I'm going to use for x. And the reason I chose 4 is because we're asked to find 4 solutions. So my y value equals 7 times my x. So when x is -1, y will be 7 times my -1. Or in other words, -7. When my x is 0, my y value will be 7 times 0, or just 0. When x is a +1, my y value will be 7 times 1, or just 7. And when my x is a +2, my y would be 7 times 2, which is 14. Now that's really all the work we need to do. Now we're going to write out our ordered pairs, and an ordered pair is a coordinate that has an x and a y. And whenever we write ordered pairs, we always put them in parentheses. So our first ordered pair, when x is -1, my y value is -7. So I'll write that as an ordered pair, -1, -7. And I could graph that if I wanted. When x is 0, y is 0. So my next ordered pair is going to be 0, 0. When x is 1, y is 7. So my next ordered pair will be 1, 7. And when x is 2, y is 14. So my last ordered pair is 2, 14. So this is my answer. These are my 4 solutions, or my 4 ordered pairs that I get from the function y equals 7 times x. Okay, let's try a few more so that we can get the hang of this and make sure that we've got this okay. All right, in these upcoming examples, we're asked to do the same thing. It says to find 4 solutions of each function. And remember, a function is where we put an x value in and we get a y value out. We put something in, we get something else out. You're probably going to get tired of me saying that, but that will help you remember what a function is. Write the solutions as ordered pairs. So let's start out with my first function, and I'm going to use the function y equals my x value plus 2. So I'm going to use that function, y equals my x value plus 2. So I'm going to make my xy chart with my x's on my left and my y's on my right, and I'm told that y equals x plus 2. Okay, so remember I told you we're going to use 4 values for x, the same each time, -1, 0, 1, and 2. We're always going to use the same values for x. We could use different ones, but just to keep it consistent, we'll use -1, 0, 1, 2. So when x is -1, I'll plug in -1 for my x and add 2. -1 plus 2 is +1. When x is 0, I'll plug in, again, 0 for my x. So x plus 2, 0 plus 2, which is +2. When x is 1, 1 for my x plus 2, which is 3. And when x is 2, it would be 2 plugged in for my x plus 2, which is 4. And now I'm going to write out my ordered pairs. So when x is -1, y is +1. When x is 0, y is 2. Remember that to get y, I just take my x and add 2. That's my function. When x is 1, y is 3. And when x is 2, y is 4. So these are my ordered pairs or my solutions. Those 4 points I could plot on a graph. Okay, let's try a couple more. So I'm going to try the function y equals -2 times x plus 5. And I'm going to use that function to find ordered pairs that I could graph. So I'm going to make an xy chart. I'm told that my y equals -2 times x plus 5. So my y is -2 times x plus 5. That's my function. And I'm going to pick the values -1, 0, 1, and 2 for my x. And I'm going to plug in my x's into my function. Okay, so on the right side of my table, I'm trying to figure out what is my y value when x is -1, 0, 1, and 2. So my first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in -1 for my x because my first x value is -1. So that's going to be -2 times -1 plus 5. So -2 times -1 is 2 plus 5 is 7. So when x is -1, y is 7. Notice I do my multiplication first and then I add 5 because I have to do multiplication before addition with order of operations. All right, next, when x is 0, it's going to be -2 times 0 plus 5. 2 times -2 times 0 is 0 plus 5 equals 5. When x is 1, I'll have -2 times a +1 plus 5. -2 times 1 is -2. -2 plus 5 is 3. All right, for my last value, I've got a +2 for x. So that would be -2 times +2 plus 5. -2 times +2 is -4. And -4 plus 5 is +1. So my order pairs, when x is -1, y is 7. When x is 0, y is 5. When x is 1, y is 3. And when x is 2, y is 1. All right, so for our last example for today, we are going to try one more. So my last function is that my y value equals -4 times my x minus 6. So I'm going to make my function table. X's are -1, 0, 1, and 2. And my y value equals -4 times my x minus 6. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to plug in -1 for my x since that's my first x. So that's going to be -4 times -1 minus 6. So -4 times -1 is 4, and 4 minus 6 is -2. So when x is -1, y is -2. Okay, when x is 0, I'd have -4 times 0 minus 6. -4 times 0 is 0, minus 6 is just -6. So when x is 0, y is -6. All right, next, x is 1. So I'm going to plug in +1 for my x. So I've got -4 times +1 minus 6. -4 times 1 is -4, minus 6 is -2. All right, for my last value of x, I've got +2. So I'm going to plug that into my function. -4 times +2 minus 6. So -4 times +2 is -8. -8 minus 6 is -14. So my values, my coordinates, are going to be when x is -1, y is -2. When x is 0, y is -6. When x is 1, y is -2. And I'm running out of space. Okay, when x is 2, y is -14. All right, so that is your lesson for today. Thank you for listening. These are all called linear functions because when you graph these points on a graph, they would make a straight line. So a linear function. So on your assignment today, you're going to practice making function tables and using these to find points that you could plot on a graph. Please make your function tables look similar to this. And remember that for each function table, you must have an XY chart. So your X is on the left, your Y is on the right. And please use the X values, -1, 0, 1, and 2. All right, good luck. And if you have any questions, of course, please message me and let me know. All right, talk to you guys later.